see the questions in your eyes. I know what's weighing on your mind. You can be sure I know my burden, 'cause I stand beside you through the years, and you'll only cry those happy tears. And though I make mistakes, I'll never break your heart. And I swear by the moon and the star in the sky, I'll be there. And I swear, like the shadow that's by your side, I'll be there. For better or worse, to get through us, but I love you with every beat of my heart. And I swear, I'll be your dream within your hand. I'll be your dream within your hand. We'll hang some memories on the wall. And when just the two of us are there, you won't have to ask if I still care. 'Cause there's a times to pay. My love won't end. It's at all. And I swear by the moon and the star in the sky, I'll be there. And I swear, like the shadow that's by your side, I'll be there. For better or worse, to get through us, but I love you with every beat of my heart. And I swear, I swear by the moon and the star in the sky, I'll be there.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
I swear
that's my guy, Lala.
shadow that's by your side, I'll be there.
The lead singer of our in-house band that is Titanic. Lala, what's
Thank
up?
you.
What's up, Lala? How are you?
I think I'm fine.
That song was done, what? That's All for One, released
Yes.
around 1994. Were you
Yes.
born? Were you born 94?
Actually, I'm not sure, but 1994.
But you did well on the song. Thank you very much.
I was born.
Thank you very much, Titanic.
Thank you so much.
And I welcome everyone that is tuned in, that we're back at the MV Talks, Media Viability Talks. This is a place where we talk about people that are flexing around this media space. And today I'm going to introduce to you a guy. I've also been dying to meet a guy, but the guy is here with us today. He has built business around his passions, and that is IT, digital, and sport. Ladies and gentlemen, and when I say digital, he's good with things around social media. I want to introduce to you a guy called Joseph Owino. I'm very happy to have you on MV Talks. Thanks for allowing allowing our invitation to come and be on the show, man. No, I actually had more. I had more to say, but my producer was like, please, we have other guests. Let us not overdo this. So let's gotta choose some. But first of all, one of the things that I like about the things you do is your choice of names of the business. By the way, before I even get there, this guy is the founder of Owino Solutions. So we are going to talk about things that are under, I think that should be the holding company for the things. Kawowo Sport, there is Mbu, there's Kikuubo. So I want to first start with your choice of words. I enjoy people that bring home the things that they do by giving them names. But before we go, because now I think I just said, first help people that are watching. Who's Joseph Owino anyway?
I wear so many hats, but in essence, you know, from a very humble beginning, and primarily I am a self-taught tech practitioner. I did not go to school for it, so if you ask me for papers, I will like scratch my head.
Like, you know, can I do the job? Yes. You know, that reminds me of when a traffic guy gets you and your driving permit is expired. There are moments I feel like, but can I show you?
You can see
because it's just the paper, but me, I can show you I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, show them that you can indicate.
Right?
Because that's our biggest problem.
Yeah. So
when I finished primary school, my parents are very progressive. I have an elder sister, and they had just taken her to this really fancy school. Yeah. And I think they put all their eggs in one basket to a point that I had completed primary school, and now there was no money to take me to secondary school. And yet my sister was in this really fancy school. And they refused to like sort of downgrade her in order to like accommodate me. So in essence, for a whole year, I was there, and the neighborhood kids were going to school, and I was just chilling, and I was there.
You were already in lockdown before lockdown.
I'm telling you. So I spent a year busy hawking foodstuffs on the street while my sister is going to this really fancy school. I had like some frustrations around it, but it sort of worked as a blessing in disguise, because I picked up business lessons in that 1 year of me hawking foodstuff across the board. But more importantly, afterwards, because we're looking for anywhere to place me, we ended up in a charity school, which was run in an old abandoned railway station in Mbale. And this school was sort of a charity school and opened by a family friend. And that's how I end up getting some kind of formal education, where I am taught by students from another school who pass on their notes like few classes ahead of me. But that's where the blessing in disguise comes in, that I get in contact with Swedish students who had come to you do your trip in Africa and teach people something. That's when I learn about the computers, which I thought was a TV, and get to know about the entire world. So from that day on, I have always been into computers and had like a passion for technology, and taught myself everything online. So, and that is now how, move so many years later on, I founded this company.
So many years, and we have a company where you're running, the company that is running, are there three under the umbrella?
Yeah.
And they're all run online?
Yes, so it's a digital platform. When I was at the university, I used to do like gigs, tech gigs, web development, freelance and stuff like that. And that's why I said, you know what, I'll build this into a company.
If I'm getting clients now, that means if I keep being good at this, then if it's paying now, it can pay.
And I was everything. I was a finance officer, I worked at the same time a student, isn't it? So that's how, but in that process, I get to learn that there is something that fundamental that was happening. The country was moving. More and more people were getting into digital spaces. So in essence, the pipeline was widening.
But you see, it's 2021, but people, there's still a huge chunk of people that don't even understand that migration is happening.
Yes.
So I applaud a person who thought like that because you said so many years ago.
2008.
Okay. Someone who thought then, because around that time I think we were starting. Did you even have a smartphone then?
Yes.
I
had an Ericsson.
It was around the time for Ericsson, Nokia?
Yeah, there was an Ericsson phone I had like from the UK, UK used phone.
UK used. Good as new with the box. So because you see, that's a time when the whole thing of getting into a smartphone was
Yes.
still, I mean, around the time I think all phones still had buttons.
Yeah, there are some screens, but most phones had buttons.
Yeah,
I
and,
had a
and you already
BlackBerry,
had the mindset
but-
of
yeah.
digital is here.
Yeah, but it's because I had spent many years. So think about it, like this is a 14-year-old, spent lots of time on the web and noticed how communication did really need. I didn't need, beyond the phone that would connect the internet, I didn't need to make. I was chatting with people online and all that kind of stuff.
Of Kawowo Sport, which is, I mean, that's where I get to know you, and Mbo and Chiku, which one came first?
Kawowo Sports.
Why?
So, as I was building systems, I started building more and more systems for sports people. And I'm also actually a huge sports fan.
Wait. Before, there were people already that needed sports systems.
Yes, the Uganda Cranes Football Association.
But because now Kawowo is bigger than these systems, what systems were these? What were they doing? Were they also doing sports news and?
No, they needed like web servers, they needed to be able to send emails, they needed to have domains and all those kind of services that are sort of web-based.
Web-based.
Yeah, so that is it. And I was building like lots of systems and in essence communicating a lot with sports personalities.
So that drew you there. Why?
Yeah.
Why sports? You know, I have a channel on YouTube, and there's a video I did that is sports,
Yeah.
and I was worried about how it will go because sports it's something for guys, and I have watched ladies. So how is your first dive in sports?
So I am a huge sports fan. Like that's an understatement. I am a huge sports fan that up to now you find me going to the Africa Cup of Nations, tagging myself into the team. Yet I technically have no job role in that place. But you see me
just
there,
the guy with
going.
colors around the team.
And you find me there. But I was hanging out lots with sports people, and being a huge sports fan, I had one big challenge that I didn't want the Uganda Cranes to go to, for example, Mauritius or Cape Verde and play on a Saturday. We do not have the updates till Sunday. I mean, even sometimes Monday morning when you read it in the papers.
Oh, right.
That was a big problem for me. I wanted that information to be swift and stuff. So in essence, you would say Kawowo Sports was built for me to, to be able to enjoy.
I like people who create like that. So you were your first consumer.
Yes.
Nice. So it is passion, but you're putting out something that you yourself you want to get out of your gadget, and it's the first thing you see.
Yeah, and that's why we focus more on the product. So for years, Kawowo Sports didn't take. I'll give you an example. It made rational sense that if Kawowo Sports wanted to grow faster, it needed to write about Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because it meant you have more name recognition, there are more people going to come and visit the website, more page views, and in essence, you're bigger. But my hypothesis was that there are enough people who are interested in knowing about a certain Sech Toleko who plays for a local club and in Kataka or something like that.
Right.
So that was the motivation behind it. I really felt that this pipeline is growing, but we are not contributing. You know this thing about you have a sickness and your grandmother knew how to fix it through some particular herb. And when you go on the internet to say, this symptom, how do I fix it? They'll give you a solution that is relevant to some American kid who has a problem if they play in the mud. Yet we don't have that. So relevant information was a big issue for me, and I felt that if we contribute local content into the global information pool, so that tomorrow in the future our kids are going to be, because our kids are going to use all these digital platforms.
They're all tech-savvy kids, man.
But they are going to search for the information. We need to make sure that the information that they search is relevant to them. If it is a specific disease that affects me and doesn't affect an American, that information might not be there, and yet it needs to be there. So that's really the essence of it. And if you look at all our brands, the focus, the names are local, the content is local. We don't care about international
what's happening everywhere. So you dive in at Kawowo Sports.
Yes.
You are alone?
So I'm alone. I have this company that I run. My employees are developers.
At the time the company was legally existing?
Yes.
Nice.
not fully, but yes, at least I had the legal things, I had money, taxes and all those things, but we were running. And so I initially had conceptualized it as a database. Because I met this player who came and told me that they want me to take them to the UK to play football. And I said, I am not an agent, but I can make sure your information is available on the internet so that when someone is looking for a player in this region, they can find you. So I've initially conceptualized it as a database where I can say, okay, this is Joseph Owino, this is his height, his date of birth, his qualities.
Date of birth.
Let's not go there.
Okay. So you are alone.
Yeah.
It goes online.
Yes.
When do you get your first member of the team?
I go to the New Vision and poach one of their staff and bring him on board. Money. I had a company and I had a passion and I could fund my passion.
So it was easy to get someone who is having a job at Vision Group. You're like, come, let's do this.
I felt if we did it, we needed to do it well. But also at the time, it wasn't that risky because I was bringing someone who is knowledgeable to make sure that he creates a database of all the players and their biodata. It's only when we realized that there actually is no data. So I initially thought this guy is going to come and comb information from all places and then put them together in one central database. But it turns out that player X has no photograph of himself. So we have to take that photograph. Player X, we don't even know which team he plays for. And that information is available. But he's a player, you know? So that's when now we change and say, hey, okay, so we actually need people to build this content about them. And that's how we switched to a news and media as opposed to just a portal to be able to have the data.
Can get this information.
Yeah.
So you get this guy and his job was?
Initially his job was list down the players and their data, biodata. Then that's changed to write as much.
Let us write about what is happening with these guys.
Write as much as you can about whatever. And
so you and him, you become journalists.
I'm not a journalist and I never pretended to be one.
And him?
He was a proper journalist.
So he's the person who made sure the stories are sourced.
Yes.
And the Kawowo Sport, that the website is running.
Yes. And then we now started getting in more people.
It takes off. When does Mbu come? How long after Kawowo?
So many years. Mbu comes in 2017.
Sorry, Kawowo came around what, 2008?
2010.
2010?
Yes, 2010 is when I built the system, 2011 is when we launched
the name Kawowo does that have anything to do with us?
No. Okay. I support Manchester United. That should be on the record. But Kawowo, because I'm in the football world, it is a word that really resonated. So I felt there are two things. My understanding, I come from Tororo, but I properly understand the nuance around Kawowo, which is the aroma and the people, the way they understood it, which is to me beautiful. My hypothesis has always been that Ugandans really play well. You go to any kataka and you will see the buddies that people make. They manipulate the ball. And so to me, I felt that that's beautiful and it resonated well. Why should you watch Arsenal, Barcelona, who they believe is tiki-taka, and yet that actually exists at Kataka. And so the thing I wanted to move across is that the reason why you don't know about the Kawowo, it's because you haven't watched it on TV.
Because the first time I interfaced with the platform, because the first time we had the word Kawowo was when Arsenal used to be doing that kind of football. I think they try even now. But okay, then I think around 2004, 2005, around there, I mean, they would pass the ball even around the goalkeeper's line just to show that they're enjoying themselves. So actually, it's a reason I brought in the Arsenal question because it's coming from there. Because for me, it's the memory it brought back for me. And immediately you say Kawowo and our sports commentators, they use it quite a lot. You say Kawowo, in Uganda.
Even when the Uganda Cranes are playing, they're like, today Uganda Cranes has brought the Kawowo. Kawowo, and even any team. So I felt that there are two worlds that match, because we want to show the beauty of Ugandan stars, but they already, how do they understand it? They understand beauty because they watch this international football and they accord to it that beauty. So I wanted to say, much as we focus on local, here is your piece of Kawowo from Uganda.
Nice. So your guy comes on the team. When do you guys start making money?
Oh, so long. He
was about to quit.
So long. No. He was paid. Okay. So that was not a problem, because
so you had a plan
primarily
to keep him paid.
Kawowo
were you
Sports,
getting the money from?
you see, Owino Solutions was a tech company, a web services company. So we had clients across the board providing SMSs. Remember them? We used to do SMSs. We used to build for people web systems. So we had a steady client base over there. And then comes in Kawowo Sports, which was basically like a division within Owino Solutions. A loss-making division, but it was being able to be funded by Owino Solutions, the company, which actually made the money. And so we're able to fund the money over there. But as Kawowo itself, it wasn't making money for mainly two reasons. One, because we were thinking long term.
So you get all these guys. Okay. That when you say we had to get many people on the job, that was only on Kawowo Sports. What were they doing? They're all
taking photographs, writing about people, and like when you think about it, there are people.
Were they paid per gig, or you had people on monthly?
No, they were on a payroll every month. They were paid. Yeah. Nice. So that was it, because we focused. We said it will be loss making, but we are building a product, because the idea was to be. You think sports in Uganda, you think Kawowo Sports, and that was the idea. Because the truth of the matter is, at some point we probably didn't need a photographer, but we hired photographers to take the photographs, so that we have visual and we have aspects.
So you, and what brought in the money when the money started to come?
So our monetization was, we only made sense when we started selling, licensing our content. Otherwise, we were not really making money with advertising. So in the Ugandan publishing sense, there are multiple ways brands make money, like publishing brands. The first one is advertising, where company X, M10 will come and place a banner or something on your site, and that is the go-to, the traditional way most digital platforms do that. The other one is, you would say, native content, where you do a partnership with a brand, and then you build content around that brand to promote the brand, which is like text-based, sponsored content and stuff like that. And so those were the major areas in which, even up to now, that publishers, especially digital publishers, figure out a way to pay their bills. Our introduction of licensing content changed later on, when we started saying we will license our images, we will license our videos that we create, we will license our text and all that we give to organizations, and mainly corporate companies that were, whose branding and marketing was tailored towards sports. So that's how we helped brands make them relevant. So if you sponsored the Uganda Cranes, then that meant that you would be able to get images from Kawowo Sports team. If you are a brand that needed to have an image on a billboard that is authentic from all the way in on Buparaka, then you would come to us and we would be able to license that to you.
Of all streams, which one is the most lucrative? Which one is making the most money for you guys?
It's licensing, I think, because advertising for now is a problem across the board because of the way that it's globally set up. Most of the money goes to the top players, i.e. Google and Facebook.
Right.
So that's where the challenge is for Ugandan publishers, that we haven't yet figured out. So when you look at our international contemporaries, they have switched more to subscription. You want to read the New York Times, you pay. You want to read Nation in Africa, you pay a subscription fee. The problem with Uganda is would you like to pay for $5 a month? Guys are like, that's a problem. So it's something we still need to figure out, and we might find a hybrid.
I think so. Okay, it's bringing in money, but among the things that will be important that it keeps bringing money is if you keep your product being special.
Yes.
What deliberate things are you doing to make sure Kawowo Sport, or even Mbu and Kikuubo, which I can come to later? What is special? What do you say that this is what we do so that we keep standing out in the sports market?
So I think the biggest thing for us is innovation. Like from a technical point of view, with my background as technology, we will have the fastest website. We will have the coolest tools, whether it is for an advertiser who is working with us or for you, the reader. So you will go to the Kawowo website and the ads will not be a nuisance because of the technology behind it. You will go to Kawowo Sports and you listen to a story instead of having to read it. Yes, and you will be able to do all those things. So we felt that was the way for us to focus on that innovation space, to be able to create new tools, new ways of doing things, access on the phone, and yet the content is still fresh and diverse. So that's really the focus for us.
And I think for me that should be the special part, because no one has thought about the fact that we are not very good. We're not excited about reading.
We also don't have the attention.
The attention span for
very short.
So we rather be listening to something or watching it.
Yes.
Which is your best business decision you've made around Owino Solutions?
Retaining our web development division and consultancy division. Otherwise, the media division wouldn't have survived. Because it needed money to be able to run. Because we retained it and still paid attention to it, we then had money to play with, to give the media division legs. Otherwise, I don't think we would have had the progress we've had so many years, because for years we were able to move money from the consultancy division to then fund the sports division. And I think that was a good decision, because then it gave us that authenticity. It meant that people go to the Africa Cup of Nations and Kawowo Sports has sent a team bigger than any other media house, which is more like prominent in the country, and treated ourselves like we are Sky Sports or we are yes.
Right?
Yes.
And any bad, regrettable decisions? You're like, we shouldn't have done that.
Yes, there are lots of decisions that we made, especially in recruitment, and at some point the biggest mistake that we made was not focusing on the business side of it. We focused like 90% on the media of it, the content of it. So we were here, we gave you like the best you can think of: photographs, videos, text, and all that kind of stuff. Yet we didn't know how to talk to brands. We didn't know how to create partnerships with corporate companies, which actually we needed to be, or to build models. So we didn't figure out how to monetize. That was the problem.
And you were supposed to have your energies in that place.
As a media entrepreneur, and this is my advice to people who are starting up. Yes, focus on the content, but you also need to start figuring out where is the monetization, so that you have a path. So that you have a path, you may not reach it fast enough, but you need to have a clear set path that this is how we monetize, and then keep fine-tuning that. So we never really focused, because we were on Vibes, supported by the consultancy division. We, for example, we could afford, to hire a marketing or a sales personnel to help sell the product to corporate companies and bring in revenue. We didn't do that, but we had the money to do it. Instead, we put that money on more and more on content.
You feel the passion.
Yes. So that was a huge mistake, because if maybe 5-7 years earlier we had gone out, spent some money to hire a professional sales professional, then it meant that we would have had more partnerships with the DSTVs, the MTNs, all these brands.
But again, I would say you shouldn't be so hard on yourself, because probably 7 or what years before you had nothing to sell.
We actually did, because we had invested in the product. So yes, at the beginning you may not have something to sell, but at least you have top of the mind awareness to the point that when something is happening, you're part of it. So there's something I used to really ask myself. Kawowo Sports, number one brand in the sports industry, Ombo, the top brand in entertainment, how come there are things happening and other players are involved in the campaigns without us? It's because we were not at the table. No one has told them about them. We are good. Like, we went to Barcelona for football, like...
You guys of Kawowo Sports went to what?
No, not just me as an individual. Went to Barcelona to benchmark.
I was going to ask if you guys are hiring. Okay, yeah.
We were bringing in the Barcelona legends to come and play in Uganda.
I watched the game.
So we went there to talk to them and learn more about the organization. But there's something that really struck me. Like, you see, you can be a good player, which is the case for Uganda here. So many good players, but no one knows about them. No one knows about them. And then, like, it's the same thing. We had the Olympics.
Joe, don't become an agent. I'm saying you don't become an agent.
I can't handle it. But look at the Olympics. You look at Chemutai who won gold.
Right?
You know, it's like there are few people, one of whom includes Alan Darren Chayune, who used to work at Kawowo Sports. But that's the guy. When we were doing that's 2002, I think, or 2012, London Olympics. Alan Darren Chayune called and said that Stephen Kiprotich is going to be the star of this Olympics. Why? Because he knew how good Stephen Kiprotich is. But we didn't know. Even us who were at Kawowo Sports didn't know. So that's the difference, and that's the problem that we have, that so many people are good and you don't know. So and that is why we need to be able to have, as the media industry in Uganda, when you look at the English media, when you look at the American media, we start speaking like Americans, we start speaking like the English. Why? Because we are influenced by their stuff. We feel, we've been sold. Yes, we've been sold, but that is because there is a concerted effort to promote their locals, and that's our challenge.
So, I mean, your stuff was online. COVID strikes last year.
That was a problem, massive problem. So COVID strikes, and like a dynamo effect, we lose, I think, every single client, just like pop, all of them, like one after the other, like, we don't know. We have to pause that contract.
We don't know.
Indefinite. We shall let you know. The contract which is about to be signed, we cannot do it yet now. Let's hold on. Let's see what happens. And that was a real big problem for us. Now we have a staff of 28. And here we are.
That is staff across all the brands?
Across all our brands. 28 staff, and revenue is
zero.
It's gone. And that was the biggest challenge we had. Like, what do we do? So sports is blocked, meaning every person, they can't do anything. Yes, we pivoted. We did long form. We did deep dives into features and stuff like that, but still not enough. And we're not utilizing the full team. No more concerts, nothing. And yet we had a team here. And that was the biggest challenge really we did have. Because are we laying off people? What are we doing? So we ended up not laying off anyone because I personally paid them from my savings to just be assured that because it was so unprecedented that I didn't know what to do for them. And that was, I felt, the best way I can be able to help as me a person.
Are you guys now bouncing back?
They're getting back. There's sports is returning. Bars are not yet open.
But at least, I mean, we're enjoying sport. We're online. We're watching things happening.
Yes. So that's where we are.
I wish we had so much, but actually, before we even go, ever had a problem with any story you've done and if there's some car backfire? Is it?
Yes. So my policy has always been to the team. As long as you're factual, I have your back. And that has brought me problems because then you have powerful people calling you up and say, "You guys have done this stuff. You guys have done this stuff. Can you fire this guy?" And I know for a fact, I gave this guy my guarantee that I have your back.
I have your back.
And then here is like you know. So all those are always problems that we have to deal with, but it's the nature of the beast.
You do all this blah 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 blah. You're family man?
Yes. Family man, 2 children, 5 and 3. I still remember their birthdays.
Yes, nice. And a wife back home.
And a wife.
Nice.
And so we have to keep pushing on and while still maintaining the family and changing everything that needs to be done.
It's very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
You've been hearing from the guy himself, Joe, Owino, and man, I enjoy knowing that someone has, after they do all that, the complicated stuff, there's still people who are telling him, Daddy, what's that?
Yes.
I mean,
or asking why.
Why
I'm saying, to give a rationale why it's better.
you have other bosses back home.
I have bosses.
Yeah, and that's very good, man. We've been having a conversation with Joseph. You've had, and we hope we can invite you again when we need to have and talk about more stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of Media Viability Talks. It's been me, Uncle Mo, along with Joe. We can have our in-house band. Lala, you can take us away.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure having you on the show.
Pleasure as well.
Nomulangira ninobude ebibatu byaffe nga byekutte nga tubayita kubagamba yabaffe liri basanya oluvannyuma nza kubuulira oliddamu kibuuzo lwaki nkwagala bino ebyoku nsi nemuwengula olugendo lw'obulamu bwaffe lwakuwanguwa oluvannyuma liri basanyu ery'oluvannyuma liddamu nti kwagala n'obulamu bwe nnina You know when you're falling, you can know you can be alright. If I feel cool inside me, ngamudimu ngawabara nyama dundamu nifami gwemanya tulina kukola omubeta wange ngoli nakate nomulangira ninobudde ebibatu byaffe nga byekutte nga tubayite kubagamba yabaffe liri basanya oluvannyuma nza kubuulira oliddamu kibuuzo lwaki nkwagala bino ebyoku nsi nemuwengula lugendo lw'obulamu bwaffe nolwakuwanvuwa oluvannyuma liri basanyu eri oluvannyuma liddamu nti kwagala n'obulamu bwe nnina Yeah.